Hi everybody, welcome back to Shorty on the Fly, and today's pattern is a Cornuta. That's a large blue wing olive that we get in the late spring, and I'm tying it in a pattern I call a Stackhamer, meaning I've got the hackle stacker wing and I'm tying it on a Klinkhamer style hook because I like the way that looks in the water. I like that, it makes it look like an insect that's in a little trouble. So let's go ahead and get started. Now this is a larger blue wing olive. This is about a size 14, so that's the size hook that I'm using. Get that oriented just correctly in there. All right, I'm gonna have this part laying flat. And I'm using gray 6/0 Danville for my thread. Go ahead and get the thread started right up near the eye. And I'm gonna take it back to just about where we go around the bend of the hook. And for my trailing shuck, I'm using Z-lon in brown, and in this case with a size 14 I am going to use the whole hank that comes off. I'm not going to divide it up, you don't need to. In this case it's the right proportion for this size. We're just going to go ahead and tie that in and take touching turns, run it all the way down to the point where the barb is on the hook, and I have left the barb on in order so you can see what I'm talking about. When we get down here, see right there, right across from it. And I'm going to trim the rest of that off about the length of the gap of the hook. We do that. And then I'm going to tie in my turkey biot. And I'm using the turkey biots in the blue wing olive color instead of the goose biots because the goose biot's just not long enough to go all the way up the hook here. Let me trim that guy out before he starts bothering me too much. There we go. Now I have pulled the biot off the hook, and you should be able to see this little notch over here. I'm going to point that to the rear of the hook because I don't want that raised edge on this particular fly. I want it to go smooth. I want the abdomen to be smooth as I wrap it. And what'll happen is as I wrap up the hook, each successive wrap will cover up that edge. And I'm just going to do a little trick here. I'm going to pull this around the front and just tuck it right in front of the hook point there and leave it there. That's going to be very easy to deal with in a minute. Then I like to put just a little bit of super glue just for reinforcement on the hook. And I mean just a little, just, you know, basically you're just trying to make it shine there. Now what that enables me to do is I'm going to come in with hackle pliers and I can just grab that, and you can see I can start to make my wraps. And we move the thread out of the way, and each wrap that I make, as you see, is covering up that edge. It's making a smooth looking body. Okay? And it gives us enough room to get up here to the front where we're going to tie off. Okay? Again, I got one of those little, there we go. And now move your thread out of the way. There we go. Now the hackle stacker technique is not difficult. I'm taking my index finger, I'm putting it about 3 inches above the hook, and I am going to make 4 wraps around my finger and the hook, and I'm keeping tension on this as I do it. And once I get to that point, I want to take a couple of wraps to the rear, and then I'm just going to twist the thread slightly to make sure I've got everything where I want it. Make 1 or 2 wraps back over it so that my loop stays open. If I don't take the time to do that wrap back over it, when you take your finger out of the loop, it's going to tangle, and that becomes a real pain in the neck. Now for hackle, on this pattern, I always use a hackle that's 1 size smaller than the hook size. So this is a size 16 hackle, and this is a rusty dun from Charlie Collins. Whatever kind of grayish feathered hackle you have, you can use for this. okay? But it's one size smaller, so this is a size 16 on a size 14 hook. It just looks more proportionally right to me when I do this. So now, take and tie that in right back up against your loops. And I'm going to cut that off of there. Go ahead and bind that right down all the way up, and then run your thread back to the back. All right, now pick up the loop with your right hand and put your finger in the loops, your index finger of your right hand in the loop. My finger, see, it's in the loop. Hold it up, and now with the index finger and thumb of your left hand, grab the hackle and pass it to your middle finger and thumb of your right hand. It looks a little tricky, but it really comes easy once you start to do it. And then all I'm doing is wrapping up the post. When I get to about here, I want to measure. That's right, see where that is? And then come back down. Okay, just right in between. Don't worry if it looks a little wonky, it's going to be fine at the end. All the way back down to the hook. Now pull the loop out. And with your right hand, bring the hackle across to your side of the hook. Lift all those guys up and out of the way. And then take a pinch wrap in order to secure the hackle. And we just want to come in and get rid of all of the little fibers and trim that hackle away. Easy, nothing to it. Now for the thorax, I'm using SLF Prism dubbing in light olive. Use whatever you want, and as always with all these patterns, you can do whatever you like, alter it for the hook size, the color of the abdomen, the color of the hackle, to do just about any mayfly pattern that you're looking for. I've got about 1.5 inch noodle on the thread here. I'm just going to pull everything back and out of the way and wrap almost down to the eye of the hook. Now pick up the loops again, hold on to them with your right hand, and with your left hand come in and pull everything out of the way. Now pull that down to your side of the hook, take a little pinch, and you should be able to capture that thread. I took 2 wraps. Now pull it forward and everything seats really nicely in there. Now just lift that back and out of the way. And come in and trim away the rest of it. Take a couple more wraps just to get everything bound down the way you want it. And we're going to whip finish. And there you have it. Okay. Sometimes you have to fuss with it just a little bit just to get things the way you want it, but there it is. There's what it looks like from underneath. And there is a Cornuta Stackhamer. Get them in your box. You never know when you might need that. You might run into that hatch. And I did one time and I didn't have anything, and so now I have it in there all the time. All right, as always, if you appreciate the video, like, leave a comment, subscribe. We love hearing from you. I bid you peace.